Okay, guys, so here's the preview of your Reactions 1 lab, which is going to investigate the reaction between vinegar and baking soda and also look at the effect that the amount of the reactants has on the amount of products that you get. So here are the supplies you're going to have access to. First, we've got a cup of vinegar. We have a cup of baking soda. We have a cup of dish soap. We have a small graduated cylinder, a 10 milliliter one, and a larger graduated cylinder, a 25 milliliter one. You're also going to have a measuring spoon, which might be a half teaspoon, a quarter teaspoon, an eighth teaspoon, and you get an eyedropper. And you're going to need to get a piece of paper towel to catch any spills that might come out of your graduated cylinder. So as you guys probably know, when you mix vinegar and baking soda, you get bubbles. It fizzes. As you wrote down in your notebook, that reaction is releasing carbon dioxide, and that's the bubbles you're seeing. Now, normally when the bubbles pop, they're gone, and so it's very hard to measure how much bubbles you're making. And that's where the dish soap comes in handy. It's going to trap the bubbles so that we can actually measure how much gets created. So we're going to start with the large graduated cylinder, which is going to be our reaction vessel. That's where our reaction is going to take place. And you're going to add exactly 2 drops of dish detergent. Now you want to try and keep that amount the same for every trial that you do. So this entire procedure is going to be the same for every trial. All that you're going to vary is the amount of vinegar that you add. So now to this dish soap, we're going to add our baking soda. The baking soda amount that you're going to use every time is a half teaspoon. Now, if you have a quarter teaspoon cup, that means you're going to do 2, right? 2 quarters equals a half. And if you have an eighth, that means you're going to do 4. But as long as you end up with a half teaspoon and you want to just push it off, make it level, and you add that into your graduated cylinder without making too big a mess. You want to try and catch it all in there. So if, like me, you had some that missed, you want to try and find a way to get that into your graduated cylinder, and that's where your paper towel can be handy. So you see that I've gotten it all in there. So my dish soap and my baking soda are in the large graduated cylinder. The next step is to decide how much vinegar I'm going to use for my first trial. I recommend starting with a small amount and ramping it up slowly. But remember that you have to use 3 different amounts of vinegar, and you need to do at least 3 trials with each one. And you have a limited amount of vinegar. So don't try and do a huge amount every time because you're going to run out of vinegar. Let's say I start with 1 milliliter of vinegar. Now, looking at this graduated cylinder, I can see that I've added exactly 2 milliliters of vinegar, so I want to pour some of that out. And now I'm a little bit under, so I want to be really careful about how much I add. All right, now I have 1 milliliter of vinegar. So I'm going to write down the amount of vinegar that I had, the amount of baking soda that I added, and the amount of dish soap that I added. And then I'm going to add the vinegar in and watch the reaction take place. I'm looking for the highest point that the bubbles reached. And in this case, the highest point was 13 milliliters. I'm going to write that down in my notebook. Then all I have to do is take this graduated cylinder over to the sink, rinse out the ingredients. It's helpful to put your thumb over the end and give it a little shake so that the baking soda dissolves away. You also have a bottle brush to help you reach down to the bottom, but it's really important that you get all of the baking soda out. Now you can see this takes a few minutes per trial, and you need to do a minimum of 15 trials. So you want to make sure that you leave enough time to get all those trials in. Once it's all cleaned out, I bring it back over here and I start over again with 2 drops of dish soap, a half teaspoon of baking soda, and then whatever the next amount of vinegar is. Thanks for watching.